This is the Neon Tarantino, the director, Derek Dillinger.
And KDR's head, the leading lady of the production.
And we're live. No second takes, no reshoots.
And you're watching the Main Event Wrestling Network.
Cut.
You all can't hear me? Come on now. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? What an opening. What an opening. But like I was saying, good morning, everybody. Welcome in to Kayfabe Coffee. Eric, how are you, my friend? Michael in the chat. Welcome in on this early morning. Appreciate you all being here. I am JPJ. Now, I know you're used to seeing me alongside Kyle here on Kayfabe Coffee, but on Thursdays moving forward, this is what you're going to see. I might have a friend join me from time to time, but this is how it's going to kind of be moving forward. You saw on Tuesday, the Great Brown Hope hop on for the Raw recap of Kayfabe Coffee. I will be taking over the Thursday morning show, recapping AEW Dynamite from here on out on Main Event Wrestling Network. Before we dive into last night's main topic, AEW Dynamite, as you can see right below me, make sure you are following us here on the Main Event Net. You can go to, I call it Twitter. I never will not call it Twitter, but you can go to Twitter, Instagram, Main Event _net. You can see this QR code in the corner of the screen. Click that. It will bring you everywhere you need to go to follow us on all our different platforms and stay tuned to anything we are doing here at Main Event Wrestling Network. We will get to that, Eric. I don't know after the last 2 weeks how you can still have concerns with these main events that he's doing. I think he's already lived up to being championship worthy with the match we saw last night and the one we saw last week. And we're going to get another banger next week, it feels like. I mean, if he's going to be doing this, listen, I will tell you this. I think the last 2 weeks of Darby Allin as world champion is already a better reign than the MJF one we saw previous. Already a better reign. That's just a hot take for me. I think MJF is getting this title back at Double or Nothing in a few weeks. I think that is probably what's going to happen somehow or soon enough. MJF will get this title back. But I don't know how you haven't watched these last two main events and how those concerns have not left. Because if this is the Darby Allin we are getting as world champion, I don't think anybody should have complaints. Now, it's subjective. You can view it however you want. But I had concerns when he won the title because the previous few months of Darby Allin just wasn't doing it for me. But these last 2 weeks of Darby Allin, no complaints. No complaints. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, welcome in, Eric. Thank you for the comments. We'll be chatting all day here as we run through Dynamite here on Kayfabe Coffee. Show started off with a bang, y'all. We open right to the AEW TNT Championship match. It is Maxwell Jacob Freeman taking on the champion, Kevin Knight. Looking forward to this match. This is a great match, as you would expect. They've had a great one not too long ago in an eliminator match that MJF had to sneak a victory on. This one was also really good. MJF starts off really aggressive. He takes Knight to the floor. He's whipping him over the stairs a few times. He does a power bomb onto the barricade, which was a gnarly spot. He grabs the camera. He's throwing kicks. He's going to the camera operator, and then we get back inside. And this is where Kevin Knight kind of starts to get his feet under him, and he starts fighting back. They go back and forth for a lot. At one point, Kevin Knight was so fired up, Remsburg had to push him off of MJF and be like, yo, all right, this is really, really good. They were going back and forth. MJF hits a DDT and an ace crusher. Kevin Knight kicks out. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, but they have been built to perfection by AEW. Kevin Knight feels like a legit TNT champion, but Kevin Knight, you watch him and you see him involved in things, and you're like, this guy is like, even though he's a TNT champion and he's been a good one, he just feels like he's going like this. He just feels like he's going like this. And soon enough, I mean, we are next week, but like soon enough, we're going to see this guy as a world champion, and we're going to feel the same way we feel about him as we do now as a TNT champion. He's just a legit future of the company. What I liked a lot about this match is I think he could I think end of 2026, Eric. I don't know if that would be the plans, but I mean, I think definitely next year, like that's not even a debate, but I think he could be a world champion if by the end of this year if they wanted to. Here's the thing about this MJF Kevin Knight match, right? So they're fighting, and what I'm seeing here with MJF, right? We saw it with the Darby loss a couple weeks ago. As MJF does his thing where he tries to get the ref distracted, he hits Darby with the low blow, doing very MJF heel shitty things, and it backfired on him. And Darby ended up giving him a taste of his own medicine, and Darby won the world championship. You fast forward to this match, these two have a very good competitive match, just going back and forth with each other. And then we get to the end where MJF is pissed because he does a cocky pin. He hits a big Alabama slam on Kevin Knight, and he does like a one-kneed cocky pin. Kevin Knight obviously kicks out. He does a real cover then, kicks out again. He covers him a third time in a row, kicks out again, and then MJF is pissed. He leaves the ring. He grabs the belt from the timekeeper's area, and he brings it into the ring like he's going to hit Kevin Knight with the belt. Remsburg, the ref, takes the belt, and as he's not focused, Max pulls out the diamond ring, and he gives it the kiss, and it's like, here we go. Max is going to do his crap again, and he's going to win cheaply, but Max turns around, Kevin Knight with a low blow. Kevin Knight gives him a low blow, pins him. Remsburg turns around. 1, 2, 3. Kevin Knight retains. Still TNT champion. And MJF is appalled. He's in the corner. He can't believe it. He cannot believe it. And before we get to the post-match stuff, which obviously happens here, I think that I'm interested in what they're doing with MJF here, because this is 2 losses in a row for him, which hasn't happened many times in his career in AEW, 2 losses in a row. But the way that he's losing these matches is he's getting a taste of his own medicine. He's getting a taste of his own medicine, which I think is intriguing, because he's going to do the typical MJF, distracting the ref, doing this, doing that, so he can do the low blow, so he can use a weapon, so he can use this. And the last couple times he's gone to do that, the opponent, the good guy, has done the MJF shit to him, giving him a taste of his own medicine. So I think it's a very intriguing thing they're doing about the way he's losing these matches. I am of the belief that Max, because he's Max. Didn't they do this is too long ago, my brain doesn't work that way, but didn't they do a thing where, I don't know, I thought he just got is it one of those things where if you win it, you just get do you get a replica of it to keep it? I don't know. Whatever. So that's a good question. I don't know. I wish I could answer it. I just think it's, like when you win a world title, they give you a replica world title that you can keep like in your house or whatever. I just assumed it's that type of thing. I don't think Bandito wins it. Like he doesn't, I don't see him wearing the ring ever. He doesn't really use it. So maybe Max just, I don't know, never gave it to him because Max is Max. I'm not sure. But I'm very intrigued with, because I am of the belief that MJF is going to beat Darby Allin for that title back. I would think it Double or Nothing, but that's just what I think, because I can't envision MJF not being the world champion heading into All In and then potentially probably losing to Will Ospreay, which we will talk about Will Ospreay very shortly. I'm not sure, but I'm very intrigued by how far they take this angle. Like, does this start to change MJF, the character? a little bit because now he's losing matches and people are one-upping him with dirty tactics? Like, are we getting into like a deeper like character change through this, maybe? Or is he just going to keep doing the same shit? You know what I mean? Considering that the last couple times it's backfired on him. I'm just intrigued about where that can go. After the match, though, MJF attacks Kevin Knight. He hits him with the chop block, which MJF had been working. Then there was a spot where Kevin Knight kind of flipped off the ropes to get away from MJF, and they did the knee thing where his knee buckled, and MJF was working on the knee a good amount through the match, and Kevin was selling the knee a lot. So MJF hits a chop block. He's got the loaded fist. He's raising it high. It's like he's going to, and then Darby Allin zip lines down from the rafters. He gives him a scorpion death drop. Max runs to the stage. He gets on the mic. He talks crap about the crowd. He says they suck. He goes, "This is so typical for you, Darby. Two low-life cheaters getting along." He goes, "But the joke's on you. I don't give a damn about Kevin Knight. This match doesn't count. I was barely even trying. The only thing I care about is the AEW World Championship." He demands a rematch. Darby says no. He goes, Darby says, "I'm not giving you a rematch until you put something on the line." And he goes, "And if I survive Brody King tonight, I know exactly who deserves a shot next week." And Max says, "Me." And Darby turns and he looks at Kevin Knight, and MJF's like, "Don't do it." And Darby basically says, "Hey, if I beat Brody King tonight, next week, you deserve you and me for the world title." Then Brody King comes out. He gets real face-to-face with MJF. Nothing happens, but he gets right in his face. They have a little mini stare down. Brody King enters the ring, and he stares down Darby, and he says, "Bad news, because you're not going to survive tonight, Darby." And he goes, and I got even worse news for you, Kevin. Next week, you won't be facing Darby Allin. You'll be facing the new AEW heavyweight champion, Brody King. And then we got a video package showing the history of Darby and Brody because they had big feuds a couple years ago when Brody first got here, that epic when he choked him over the rope and Darby was just hanging there and dropped epic photo. So we saw a little bit of that. Good opening segment, good match with MJF and Kevin Knight. Then it turned into, we already are looking forward to something next week because Kevin Knight is facing one of Brody King and Darby for the world title next week. This was a really, really good opening match, opening segment. The aftermath was good. I like it. I like it a lot. I thought it was a good start. We came back from commercial. We saw Renee Paquette backstage interviewing Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. Poor Renee. Felt like she had a cold. You don't have anybody that can fill in so she can rest? Good Lord. They talked about, so they made the challenge last week to FTR saying double or nothing. You guys and us. If we lose, we'll never team ever again. FTR then turned it around and said, all right, but it has to be an I Quit match. And this was them agreeing. They agreed to the I Quit match. Christian agrees. And he says, he goes, we accept. And Copeland kind of rags on him and he goes, oh, that's a pretty quick acceptance for somebody who has such a history with I Quit matches. And then Christian's like, I never said I quit. I never said I quit. And he walks off frustrated, and Copeland kind of laughs with Renee about it. I thought it was funny. We then had a squash match. The Brawling Birds are back. Alex Windsor, Jamie Hayter. Great. I love this team, man. I love this team. And they went up against Jordan Blade and Emily J. Shout out to Emily J. We love Emily J. So that was cool to see. They didn't get much offense at all. This was just a showcase. But even in this quick match, the quick tags, the double team moves, the big chops, they did a double headbutt. They do the Hart Foundation's old move, the heart attack. I forget what they call it. 2 birds, 1 stone. That's what they call it. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Kyle. Good spot for her. She was backstage. She was part of the help at Mania on Dynamite last night. Good stuff. She's a good one. They do the 2 birds, 1 stone, the heart attack finishing move. 1, 2, 3, real quick. Nice and easy. Loved it. Loved it. Eric, you can't ask me questions about the past. I like marijuana. No, I think it was because, oh my God. Didn't they have an I Quit match? I'm pretty sure Copeland and Christian had an I Quit match in AEW. Did they not? I'd have to googs it. I'd have to googs it. But you can't, you know, if it's like past, unless it's like core memories from like my wrestling, like core memories, like ones you don't forget, you can't ask me something that happened more than 3 or 4 months ago because there's so much wrestling that I consume on a weekly basis that unless it's something that is like, holy crap, we're going to remember this forever. I don't even know what I had for breakfast yesterday, bro. You know? Let me googs it though. We got time. We got time. Yes, yeah, exactly. So Christian lost that I Quit match to Copeland. So I think that's what that was in reference to. So I think he was kind of saying, oh, that's a pretty quick acceptance, knowing your history with I Quit matches, like basically saying like, hey, remember when I beat you? And then Christian was like, I never said I quit. Like I never said I quit in that match. So I think that was just kind of like at least that's the vibe that I got from it. I didn't know the exact thing that it was, but I knew they had an I Quit match before. After that, we had a backstage promo with Tekla and Sky Blue. Tekla is unbelievable in these promos. She says that she would love to stop calling AEW women dumb bitches, but the problem is there's just too many dumb bitches in AEW. Tremendous. She says the birds can't seem to handle one toxic spider, so they should just stick to tag teams because one-on-one, she's everything and they're nothing. Short, sweet, to the point. Love it. Tekla was awesome here. Sky Blue did chat as well in here, but it was mainly about Tekla taking over. Really, really good. Just really, really good. I agree, Eric. I think she just has as the kids say, she has an aura to her that she's just cool. Here's the thing, and I talked about it with Kyle a while back, is Tekla to me, listen, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I don't know how that's possible. That you are not. Great in the ring, great in the mic, badass, an actual heel who's a piece of shit. Like just it's a total package. But that was what I was going to say. A while back, me and Kyle were talking about her because Kyle's not a huge, and again, I'm just like, I just appreciate her. I appreciate her because she's not, even though she is cool and she comes off as cool and she's got a great look and the entrance is cool, the music, she's cool, but she doesn't come off as a heel that's trying to be cool. She comes off as this badass heel who does whatever she wants and will do whatever she wants, and she'll kick the shit out of you. And she's just cool. She doesn't want you to like her. She's not trying to be cool so you like her. She's just cool. And she doesn't give a shit if anybody thinks she's cool or not because she knows she's the shit. And as in a wrestling landscape where there aren't a lot of heels try to be the cool guy heel. She is the cool girl heel, but she's not trying to be the cool girl heel. She's just the cool girl heel. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that immensely. So moving forward, and I actually think her title reign has been really, really good. Legitimate defenses. She does a lot of stuff on Collision. So if you don't watch Collision every week, which like I don't watch it live every week, but I keep up with it. But she does a lot of stuff on Collision. Collision has been really a sandbox for her to kind of do more stuff. They still give her segments and matches on Dynamite, but she dominates Collision. And she does a lot of she's done a lot of good shit on Collision. I would like to see, even though she's the champ and she is on Dynamite every week, I'd like to see her more on Dynamite doing like these type of vignettes and like wrestling more, whether it's, with the group or by herself or whatever. But she really is focused a lot on Collision, which I appreciate that they differ the talent on the shows and like they focus on other things, and it's not just we're focusing on the same people on both shows. I appreciate that. But she's your women's world champion. She should be one of the people that are focused on both shows, in my opinion. She shouldn't just dominate one. That I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I don't know if there's been a report that she's injured or anything like that. But she was there last week, but she wasn't in that vignette. It was only Sky Blue and her. So I'm not sure. I would have to look that up, to be honest with you. I don't think they said anything on commentary about her not being there. So I don't know, really. I don't know. We then had an AEW International Championship match. It was Kazuchika Okada going up against Ace Austin. Good spot for Ace Austin. He's been signed for a little bit now. He's been featured here or there, but this is a big one-on-one match. This kid is very, very good. He's been very good for a long time. And to get a one-on-one high-profile title match on a Dynamite against Okada, that is a good, deserved spot for Ace Austin. He's going to be a future player in AEW for years to come. He's very, very good. And this match was good. Shorter, like not super short, but not a terribly long match. But it was good. Started with the collar and elbow tie-up. They're doing all this stuff. Ace Austin hit a Death Valley driver to the corner and a springboard into an enziguri. Then they go out on the floor, and then Okada kind of sidesteps a plancha. He hits him with the DDT on the floor, and then we kind of, we come back from commercial, and Okada's kind of taken over. Ace Austin keeps on fighting, getting out of things, but Okada's really in control. Eric, yeah, I agree. I thought Ace Austin was a world champion caliber guy in TNA. When I saw that, okay, there you go. So she got misted. There we go. When I did see the signing, I was like, that's a sneaky signing by AEW, because that guy's main event caliber. Like, he's main event caliber. They run to the outside again. Ace did a cool spot where he handstand to block a counter, and then he landed a kick on Okada that was really good. They get back inside. He throws Okada inside. He does a springboard leg drop, which was fucking awesome. What a leg drop that he hit on Okada. Then Okada puts a boot up. He gets a schoolboy. He hits an axe handle. He goes for a rainmaker. It's reversed to a backslide. This was a very close 2.9 count, which was really a good close 3-fall. Then he hits the beautiful drop kick. He gets him up. He hits the tombstone pile driver on Ace Austin, pulls him back up to his feet. Ripcord, rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. Okada retains. Good little match. And a good showing for Ace Austin. More of that, Tony, please. Thank you. Post-match, we get Takeshita coming out on the stage. He basically did the gesture, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for that belt. And then they tell us on commentary, Double or Nothing. It's official. International Championship match. Okada, Takeshita, gonna rule. And we get all that, which is good. Then we had one of my favorite things on the whole show, guys. I agree. But I'm going to tell you this, Kyle. Or I'm sorry, main event wrestling. Kyle, I'm going to tell you this. I agree with that sentiment. I have said that about 4 times. The last 4 title matches that Takeshi's had, and they haven't done that. So I would think that, yes, more than ever, yes, at Double or Nothing, you got to crown him. But I felt like they should have crowned him against Moxley. Didn't do it. I felt like they should have crowned him by winning the CC. Didn't do it. I don't know, man. We'll see. Well, I mean, but here's the thing. Mox was a moment that they should have done. The moment is beating Okada. But he should have beat Okada in the finals of the CC. So, even way before that, he should have beat Okada in the finals of the Continental Classic. You were building to it. So they prolonged it. We're getting it. Double or Nothing, huge pay-per-view, New York. We're getting it. You got to do it. I mean, do you though? They gave Max Max just beat Kenny Omega at a pay-per-view in 40 minutes, and then 3 days later, they gave him a title match on a Dynamite, whether you thought Darby was going to win or not. Like, I think once you make a title change like that on a Dynamite on a Wednesday, you can't decide. Do I think it would have been absolutely nuts if like Ciampa or Brody King would have beat Darby Allin for the title one of these last weeks? Yeah, because then you've got to be like, holy shit, I have to watch Dynamite. 2 title changes on Dynamite in the last 3 weeks. But I mean, it is what it is. Like right now, we don't know what Darby Allin's doing at Double or Nothing. He doesn't have a match. He's just fighting dudes every week on Dynamite. So, I have no problem with Darby Allin being this guy as champion and being a fighting champion. When it comes to like stuff like that with Okada, obviously we knew Ace Austin wasn't going to beat Okada. But when the title's on the line, there's more stakes. And when there's more stakes, the matches matter more. That's all. Yeah, you can go into it saying, well, I know Okada's going to win. And we all knew Okada was going to win. But that didn't take away from how great of a match that was for me. Knowing he was going to not lose the title, that didn't take away anything from that match. At least to me, it didn't take away anything. I watched that match and I was like, this is really good. This is really good. But like, yeah, occasionally you have to do the upset sometimes. And like, it's not going to happen to Okada in this case. But if you're doing the champions or fighting, championship matches and stuff like that before big matches, eventually you have to do something that shocks people, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's just because it happens so often maybe, but I just don't, it just doesn't bother me. Like it didn't take anything away from the match with Ace Austin and Okada for me. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it as much as I would have if it was a non-title. I think, but I also think that's a lot of the reasons why they do the eliminator matches. Now, this wasn't an eliminator match. This was actually just for the title. But I think that's why they do the eliminator matches, because it's a way for their champions to get on television, and the match has stakes, but it's not for their belt, if that makes sense. So I think they just went the different route with the championship match this time. I don't know. All right, so then we got this vignette, which was one of my favorite things on the whole show. It's in the Wild West town, so immediately you're like, oh, Bandito. You're like, this is a Bandito thing, which I love when they do these vignettes with Bandito. So we kind of go into the town. You see a couple dudes get thrown out of a saloon, like out the doors, like old school Western style. Another guy comes out. He's got blood pouring down his face. And then you see a man walk out of there, but you don't see who it is. And the camera kind of follows. He's got bloody hands, the guy you can see coming into view. And on the ground, there's a reward poster for Bandito that we've seen in the past. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And we see somebody reach down and pick it up. And we see that it's Swerve. It's Swerve Strickland. He looks at the camera. He has the poster. And then we see Prince Nana come into flame, and he has a pocket blowtorch. He gives it to Swerve, and Swerve lights the poster on fire while unbelievable. I loved this. I love this because my brain obviously is like, oh, cool, Bandito. They're gonna do a focus on Bandito again, and all right, he's gonna do something big soon. And then it's Swerve, and it's like, oh shit, we're gonna do Swerve and Bandito. Okay, cool. That's something I didn't necessarily have in my brain at all, but that's something. What's the saying? I didn't know I needed until now I know I need it, or something like that. Like, not even a thought in my brain. Swerve and Bandito. And then the second that was revealed that was Swerve, I was like, I need to see this match. I need to see this match. Please and thank you. I loved it. It was great. And then another thing I loved was the Death Riders and this Will Ospreay thing, man. Oh, boy, I am into this. I am into this, guys. I am into it. It looks like it's just going to be a typical Death Riders promo. Daniel Garcia is saying that this is how they get to be the best. As you know, they're sparring. Claudio's sparring with Yuta on the ground, on the Marina, and Yuta on the ground. And Garcia's like, this is how we get to be the best. Doing stuff like this is how we become the best. And then the door opens, and it's Will Ospreay. And he walks in there. Moxley looks right at Ospreay. He goes, "You cleared?" And Ospreay nods his head. And then Ospreay goes, "And just so you know, that's never stopped me in Japan." He goes, "Preparing for a big match. I go with my boys. It's not stopped me." And Moxley goes, "Loyalty." He goes, "Loyalty in a man tells me all I need to know to drop it." He goes, "But I need you to drop everything up here. I need you to, all those weird feelings in here. I need you to get rid of it all. I need you to be clear." He goes, "Everything in your heart that tugs and pulls at your strings, everything in your stomach that makes you burn with anger, everything in your brain that clouds your visions and make you see things that aren't there, get rid of it. I need you to drop it all. Excess baggage," he calls it. He goes, "We don't need it." He goes, "Your feelings about me, drop it." He goes, "I make you no promises." He goes, "I produce no miracles. But when I make a commitment to something, I see it through all the way to the end." And he goes, "And I ask you for the same in return." Ospreay nods again, and he walks deeper into the room. He stares down with Pac, which was nice. And then Ospreay asks Mox, "Where's the ring?" And Mox says, "We don't do a ring. We start from the ground up, and the rest is proprietary." And then he goes and he pushes the camera away, and they cut away. So we saw last week where Ospreay looked like he was going to get killed, and the Death Riders kind of came and saved him and took him. And now we see Ospreay has accepted Moxley's, or at least on the surface, has accepted Moxley's invitation to, what did Moxley say on Collision? He said to turn him into like the most dangerous, I don't know, the most dangerous guy in the AEW or something like that. Very good. I would believe that would be the direction, Eric. I think he wins the Owen, and then he faces MJF and wins the title at All In London. I feel like that would be where we go. We then had ourselves a tag match. It was Copeland and Christian Cage against Roppongi Vice, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta. Match was a little long for me. They had FTR and Stokely on commentary, which Stokely on commentary is always great. I just thought this match was a little bit long. It was a fine match. See, Eric, for you, this type of match, for me, is more of a, like, I didn't really care for this match because I knew Copeland and Christian were winning. This bothers me more than Okada being in a title match when I know Okada's not losing. Like, this match, I feel like there was a little bit of history to it. It's a good tag match to get these guys in there, to get Copeland and Christian a win. They work on the hand and stuff like that. But it just felt like a little long to me. It felt like you said right there, RPG Vice beat up Copeland and Christian like a little too much for me. And I know Christian's got the fractured wrist and they're playing into that, and that's going to easily play into the I Quit match at Double or Nothing. I get that. It just was too long. There was a good part outside the match where the ref wasn't looking, and Cash Wheeler got involved in the match, which led to Cage getting smashed in the corner with his wrist and all stuff like that. And then Stokely's kind of up from the table and he's clapping. And then behind him in the first row of the crowd, we see three dudes in hoodies stand up, and it's Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly. And then we see Stokely takes a swing at Orange Cassidy. Cassidy smashes his popcorn over Stokely. And then the other two guys, they all jump the barricade and they start taking out FTR, which was awesome. So that kind of removed FTR from. So that whole thing leading up to that, I was in on this match. I was in. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. That got FTR out of there. So now it's just Copeland and Christian versus RPG Vice. This is where I felt like this match should have been shorter. I feel like it went a little bit too long for me from this point forward. But all in all, not a bad match by any means. And Copeland and Christian get the win, as you think they should. Post-match, Christian gets a chair. He brings it in the ring. He opens it up. He breaks the crossbar and he hands it to Copeland. And then he puts him in the cross face with the crossbar. He puts Trent Beretta there. Cage grabs the mic and he makes Trent say it, but Trent can't say it through the bar. And then he goes, say it. And Beretta says he quits. And then Copeland lets go of the hold, and Christian calls Trent a little bitch. And that's how that ends. So not a bad match at all. I just could have been a little shorter, in my opinion. We come back from commercial. Renee Paquette is interviewing Jericho. He says, she asks him about Ricochet doing the lion salt now. He calls it the Ricochet, the Rickasalt, or whatever he's calling it. And he goes, look, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, or whatever that, saying is. He goes, but I'm not exactly flattered by Ricochet. He goes, I haven't followed his career close enough, because if he had, and then he gets blindsided by the demand, they start beating down Jericho. Ricochet asks if this is how he thought his big comeback was going to go, and says there's no more jokes before he slams him into a road case. And then it looks like he's going to do the lion salt, but he just backflips, lands on his feet, laughs at Jericho, and walks away. So we are definitely continuing this Jericho-Ricochet demand feud. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I haven't necessarily disliked it. And I think it's a fine little spot for Jericho to be in, kind of in the mid-card. Yeah. Who would have thought? We then had another tag match, and this was for the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championships. It was Divine Dominion, Lena Cross and Megan Bayne against Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. I thought for sure that Hikaru Shida was going to turn during this match. Well, Ricochet's not young, man. Ricochet's been around for a very, very long time. I don't know if Jericho needs to put Ricochet over. I mean, he's kind of already over. But I agree that I don't think he needs to be working with main event. Like, I like where he is on the card. He's in the mid-card, upper mid-card, fighting guys that he should be fighting. Like, Ricochet's if you want to establish Jericho as a babyface in the company for the next little bit, Ricochet is one of the perfect guys you have, because the crowd hates Ricochet. So that will establish Chris. And then I would actually like to see Chris work with a lot more of, like, actually people that need to be put over. You're not wrong in your sentiment, Eric. I just don't think Ricochet is a younger talent he's Ricochet. Everybody knows who Ricochet is. You know what I mean? All right. I like this tag match. It started off sloppy, though. It looked like they were kind of waiting around a little bit for some stuff. Megan Bayne looked a little stiff to start this match a little bit, but then they really got into it. And these four ladies were humming in this match. Really, really good. Lena Cross hit an awesome electric chair, hot shot, which was great. Statlander and Bayne using their power against each other, which we've seen them. And Shida is so good. She's back now that we're seeing her wrestle again on a more weekly basis. I think a lot of people are remembering why she was a multi-time world champion for as long as she was, because she's unbelievable. And I really want to see her lean in and be a savage heel. I think that would be such a great role and character for her. I thought we might have seen it in this match, because I thought she might have, like, just turned on Stat or left Stat behind, but we didn't see that. This was a straight up great tag team match. Stat hit a 450 on Lena Cross that Lena kicked out of, which was an incredible spot. Right after that, Shida tags in. Statlander is setting Cross up. A Meteora off the top. And then Shida follows it up with the Falcon Arrow. Kick out again. But then we saw the running knee back suplex combination, which took Statlander out. And then Lena Cross plants Shida. And they get the 1, 2, 3 tag team champions. Eric, I'm with you, dude. That's where I'm leaning. That's where I'm leaning a little bit. They could go that route. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Kyle, main event. I think that's what we're doing here. I think it's a ways away, though. But I think the long-term build would be the Brawling Birds in England against the Divine Dominion, and they get their moment where they become the new AEW Women's Tag Champions in England. I know Windsor's from Australia, but Hayter's an English woman. So I think that would make a lot of sense. Backstage, Renee Paquette interviewing Andrade. But before they can say anything, MJF rolls up. He berates Andrade. He goes, you didn't take care of Darby Allin. This is your fault that Darby Allin's walking around here as champion, and a bad one at that, because you didn't take care of business. And Andrade just says, how do you know? And MJF says, because you didn't beat him at Dynasty. And Andrade goes, well, how do you know? And he's starting to laugh, and MJF's getting frustrated. And then he says it again. How do you know? And then MJF's really pissed. And then Don steps in. He goes, look, business is business. Andrade doesn't need to fight Max because Max doesn't have the belt. MJF, you need the belt back because business is better when you're on top of it. So let's relax. And they both leave. And then Don just laughs with Renee and he leaves. You just have them win matches, man. It's not hard. Eric, it's not hard. Have them wrestle on TV regularly, have them in competitive tag team matches, and have them win. Again, August is a long time away. Maybe you could do a thing where they get a tag title match and they lose, and then they build back up to get to August for a rematch. I don't know. But I think as long as you have them focused on television, you have them having competitive matches, and they're winning, that'll work. Yeah, you can do the single stuff with them occasionally. I would not have them in squash matches weekly or anything like that. But if you have them in a squash match this week, maybe next week you got, Windsor takes on somebody. Then on Collision, they have a competitive tag match. Then there's a vignette the week after. Then Hayter fight. There's a way to do it, to stretch it out if you want. I personally think the Birds should fight him at Double or Nothing. That's my personal opinion, but who knows? I mean, All In England, that seems, you're going to put your English people over in England, aren't you? Will Ospreay, these two girls, even though I know Windsor's Australian, but you know what I mean? Like, aren't you going to do that? Yeah. So we had another squash match after this, as Roosh went on. I believe the guy's name was Stephen Forte. He offers a handshake. Roosh decks him, throws him to the floor, throws him into the barricade. He's putting the boots to him. He puts him in the corner. He does the bull charge, hits the hesitation drop kick, wins by pinfall. After the match, Roosh gets on the mic. He talks in Spanish a little bit, and then he switches over to English, and he says, when you mess with the bull, you get the horns. So that's what that was. So a nice little showcase for Roosh. Trying to see where he goes. Yeah. No, I scooped up yesterday, bro. I'm good. Appreciate the offer, though. You thought it was Max Caster at first? Yeah. But so we'll see where Roosh goes from here. But they're clearly keeping him fresh in our minds because I do think they have plans for Roosh. We get another backstage. Soon, Kyle. Soon. We get another backstage with Renee. She's with the Ops. And Anthony Bowens is with the Ops. We saw I think it was on Collision or last week on Dynamite, one of them, that Anthony Bowens went to Samoa Joe and he was like, basically didn't ask him to be in the Ops, but he was like, come on, take me under your wing. And we see Samoa Joe there. He's with Hook. Anthony Bowens, Shibata. Samoa Joe says they need to reassert their dominance in AEW with men like Shibata, Fury made flesh, and he goes, like Anthony Bowens. So Anthony Bowens officially, Samoa Joe said, a member of the Ops. I like that a lot. He says a man who's been undervalued, underappreciated, and underestimated. He goes, and then we come to Hook, who intends to be the new king of television after capturing the TNT championship on Saturday. Hook and Kevin Knight are fighting for the TNT championship on Saturday. That should be a good one. And he goes, and this brings us to Will Ospreay, who he hopes and prays isn't suffering from Stockholm syndrome. He goes, we had Will's back once upon a time, and he's decided he wants to, and he has to decide if he wants a relationship of convenience or confidence, and the choice is his. So they kind of throw a choice or ultimatum to Will Ospreay. So we'll have to kind of see about that. We then had a promo with FTR saying they want a trios match against the conglomeration. Hathaway introduced Tommaso Ciampa as their tag partner, which he says last time that they teamed together, he put Mark Briscoe on the shelf indefinitely. He goes, and this time we're taking the trios titles. So Ciampa and FTR teaming up to face the conglomeration for the trios titles. Hell fucking yeah, bro. Hell fucking yeah. They're not going to win them, I don't believe, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. And then you can put the graphic up, Kyle. We were at our main event. Guys, I will say last week, Darby Allin and Ciampa, that was maybe the television match of the year so far, up to this point. But this main event right here with Brody King and Darby Allin, holy shit, guys. Another excellent championship television main event by the champion, and kind of cycling all the way back to what you said earlier, Eric, that you have concerns about Darby. Man, if he's giving you these main events 2 weeks in a row, and next week we're getting another one against Kevin Knight, do we think that's going to be bad? Because newsflash, it fucking ain't going to be bad. That match is going to be unbelievable. I don't know, man. I'm not saying that Darby has to put the championship up on Dynamite every week, but I fucking love it. I love it. I was not skeptical when he won the world title because I kind of thought it was going to happen. And I don't think anybody deserves anything, but I understood the decision of finally going, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to give it to Darby. But he is the perfect guy to do this. What we've seen of Darby, he does not care about his physical well-being. He doesn't care if he's tired. He doesn't care. He fights to the end. He never gives up. He's never going to die. That's the character of Darby. And that's why people resonate with him. Because he's a little dude and he fights bigger than the fucking giants on the roster. And he is the perfect character to be a fighting champion, a legitimate fighting champion, putting the title on the line every week. This match was incredible. Are you saying, wait, so you're saying that Brody King is not a main eventer? So you have Bandito on that list, but you don't think Brody King is a main eventer? Brody King squashed MJF 3 months ago in 30 seconds. Brody King then had a world championship match with MJF a few weeks later. So when you say actual main eventers, you don't consider Brody King to be an actual main eventer? He's been floating around the world championship scene for 3 or 4 months now. He hasn't been champion yet. That's one thing. But are you saying he's not a world main event caliber guy? He fought Swerve at the last pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Tommaso Ciampa, last week was his first AEW World Championship opportunity, but are you saying Tommaso Ciampa, with his history everywhere, is not a main eventer? Dude came in and won the TNT Championship his first match. I guess so. I understand what you're saying, but I think that the two guys he's fought are main event guys. Kevin Knight is a TNT champion. He's not a main event world champion. But are you telling me that Kevin Knight is not main event caliber? Because I just disagree with you. If you're throwing, and again, I like Bandito, but if you're throwing Bandito on that list with Kenny, Omega, Hangman, and Will Ospreay, Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley, if you're throwing Bandito in that list, Brody King on the television screen is a higher level than Bandito the last couple months. The Hounds of Hell don't exist anymore, bro. The other guy just got fired from his other company. And Buddy Matthews, hasn't been around for a year and a half. The Hounds of Hell haven't existed for a long time, brother. He's been floating around the world championship picture for 3 months. 3 months now. So, I mean, I just think that's a you thing. And again, like Kenny, Hangman, Will Ospreay, Jon Moxley, yeah. And I view Bandito as a main event caliber guy. But if you're throwing Bandito in that list, I think you are doing a disservice to Ciampa and Brody King because they are equal. Brody King has been shown at a higher level than Bandito the last 3 months. Bandito's barely been around. He had that one match with Andrade at the pay-per-view. Other than that, we really haven't seen him at all. So I don't know how you can have Bandito in that list and not Brody King. When Brody King on our TV screens weekly is featured way more than Bandito. Is he still hurt, though? Because earlier in the night, we saw Swerve clearly setting up a match with Bandito. So, you know what I'm saying? And again, you rank your wrestlers. It's subjective, bro. You rank your wrestlers however you want to rank them. If you don't see Brody King and Ciampa as main event guys, that is your prerogative. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just telling you, to me, they are on equal, if not above footing, than Bandito of what is being portrayed on our television screens every week. So I think that's just personal preference when it comes to you. That's all. I don't think you're wrong because it's your opinion. But on the television screen that we watch the shows every week, Brody King is being shown to us as much more of a main eventer than Bandito is. And Ciampa, and even Kevin Knight, that were like, they're, that's just the truth. Kevin Knight fought fucking MJF to start this show and beat him. If that's not main event, MJF is the main event. So, that's at least how I view it. But I am only one man. But fortunately for me, I have the microphone. Doesn't, So, yeah, but you got to think about the good, bro. Think about what they did to him when he had Goldie and how he was running NXT for 2 years, man. That's what you got to remember. That's what you got to remember. You got to remember what's in there. Yeah, one of the best NXT champions of all time. Still the greatest story that NXT has ever told, in my opinion. Him and Gargano. That's what you got to remember, because it's not like that left. WWE made you forget about it because of all, the way that they did their shit. But that never left who was inside of him. Like, he's that guy. He's that guy. He's always going to be that guy. But guys, this main event was spectacular stuff. Thank you for the discussion, Eric, too. Even though I think you're wrong. But this is how this is how you talk. You just have normal back and forth discussion. I don't even know where to start with this one, because this was way more of the car crash style of Darby, as opposed to last week with Ciampa. There were a couple spots that were whoa, shit. But that was a wrestling match. That was Darby reminding us all, which I said on this show 2 weeks ago. I was like, hey, man, this is what I need to see from Darby, because I know he can actually wrestle. I need to see that. And that's what he gave us last week. That was a legitimate wrestling match that we saw with Ciampa, with a couple crazy spots. This was more of the car crash Darby style, but an elevated one. This was these guys have great chemistry. When they were feuding years and years ago, they have great chemistry together, these two. This was an incredible match. If the match with Ciampa didn't happen last week, we'd be talking that this was, and it was, but we would be saying that this was one of the best television matches of the year. That's how good this match was last night. Brody King putting him through a table. Or he puts him through the table cover, I should say, with the senton. That was a great spot. They showed MJF watching backstage. Kevin Knight was watching as well. Darby just got the shit kicked out of him, man. As you would expect. Tossing him around. Brody King had him in a tree of woe. He did the cannonball senton. He hit a vicious lariat. He hit like 2 huge lariats in a row, but Darby kept on getting up. He sent him to the floor. He like dragged him around. He put up a bunch of mats. He pulled up the mats to do the concrete spot. He's setting him up on the barricade. He hits a head of steam. He moved, and Darby rolls away, and Brody went through the barricade, which was a really good spot. They get back inside. Darby bites Brody King's hands. They're trading blows with each other. And then Brody hooks him up for a suplex, but Darby slides under it. He does a power bomb onto Brody, onto the exposed concrete, which was a great spot. And then he does a second rope coffin drop to the floor on top of Brody. And then he rolls him in the ring. The referee goes to make the count. Brody gets back in the ring at 9. The second he rolls into the ring, though, Darby hits a coffin drop. Then he hits a second one right away. And he gets the 1, 2, 3. And he slays the dragon. He slays the beast. And Darby retains and is still the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Another banger main event, man. Really, really good stuff. Darby, Darby knows that there's doubt. He knows how people feel. He knows there's doubters out there. And I think the last 2 weeks, they've done a great job of shutting some people up. I think it's going to continue next week because I think we're going to see another real good wrestling match out of Darby with Kevin Knight. Post-match, Darby gets on the turnbuckle. Him and Kevin Knight stare down each other, and commentary's hyping up Saturday's Collision. And next week, Dynamite's going to be 3 hours next week. So we get a special 3-hour show next week. So I'm sure they're going to load that puppy up. Yeah, man. Another good episode of Dynamite. Lots of good matches. Good backstage vignettes. They might have said it, but I missed it. I'm not really sure. Why it's 3 hours. But Kyrie, no. Kyrie's going back to Japan. Motor City Machine Guns feels like if there's going to be a signing that AEW does take from the released people, I feel like Motor City Machine Guns that's written on the wall. Them in the Buck, like that's just easy. That's an easy one. If I was AEW though, and again, I think AEW, the last few batches of releases, which suck, they've done a good job of not just, early on, I think they got into a rabbit hole of just signing a bunch of people every time they were let go, and it didn't work out clearly. They've picked and choosed. They have, picked and chose, I guess? I don't know. A lot better recently. But Motor City Machine Guns feels like a guarantee. If I were them, dude, I would give Zoe Stark a call. Zoe Stark fits the vibe of AEW to me. She's so good in the ring. I feel like that would just be another person to bolster your women's division. She's one of the more underrated. I agree. She's criminally underrated in the ring. She's not the best talker, but in AEW, it helps if you're a great talker, but there's less of that. There's less of that. Zoe Stark is somebody that if I were AEW, I would be looking into. And Kaylee Ray, Alba Fire. Kaylee Ray as well. I feel like if you can get Zoe and Kaylee Ray in your women's division to get your mid-card and potentially tag team division, continue to grow that when you get your big girls up top in the main event scene, you add those two, and then you bring up an Athena and a Billy Starks, man, you're running, bro. You're running. She has been, which is, but, that's the chances you take. I don't think you're going to have to sign her to a big money deal. She's not going to come in and get top girl money like a Mercedes or anything like that. But I think, and Dakota's another one I'd be looking at, but I think Zoe Stark would be an under the radar great hire for anybody. But I really think if AEW reached out to Zoe Stark, that's where I'd go. I think she would bolster that women's division big time. But that was Dynamite, y'all. Appreciate you hanging out in the chat. as I take on the solo endeavor. It will be me on Thursdays from here on out, as Kyle is moving on to shoot job, new shoot job life, and things like that. So, but make sure right here, main event _net on Twitter, on Instagram. Hit the QR code in the corner. We're on our road to 400. We appreciate all the support that you guys have given us as we continue to grow this brand, continue to do cool shit. So click the bell for notifications so you know whenever we're live. We got stuff all the time here. Every Tuesday morning, you got Kayfabe and Coffee talking some WWE Raw. You get me every Thursday talking AEW Dynamite after NXT, which it felt like on Tuesday night, NXT they just reinvented their whole scene. They were like, hey, here's 4 or 5 new fresh faces for y'all that are going to be our focus here, which I thought was cool. NXT was a lot of fun this week, introducing some new faces. Will Cruz, guys. They pretended they didn't know who he was, but Will Cruz, guys. That guy's a player, man. That guy's a player. But yeah, so thanks for tuning in. You can follow me, JPJ Loves Gaming, right here on my social medias. Thursday nights tonight, 8 p.m. over on Love Wrestling. Me and my man Pluggo, who you can also see here on the Main Event Wrestling Network. We do a little show called Between Two Beards. Come hang out. It's a good time. After NXT, we have an NXT show with Kyle and Jay Gold every Tuesday. They talk NXT. We have daily uploads. It's going to be a good time. Yeah, she was great. I very much enjoyed her debut as well. But we got good shit happening here on the daily at Main Event Net. Click the QR code. Follow us at Main Event _net. I will see you next Thursday for some more Kayfabe Coffee, AEW style. But till then, appreciate you all. We're getting out of here. Peace.
What up, though? You already know what it is. Best in the world, a.k.a. The Problem. Isaiah Broner. And you watching the Main Event Wrestling Network.